Mark. What are your thoughts on all the division with the truthers nowadays?
Oh, yeah. I wrote a poem with a line in there. No, 2 years ago, I wrote a poem with a line in there. When the truthers hate each other. Because I knew it was coming. Knew it was coming. And it's like, in the middle of it, you're like, fucking hell, this is getting a bit testy, isn't it? Who do you trust? What do I think about it? I think what I just said, everything's there for you. So it's all about your own. I mean, you come along to a thing like this, you know I'm a real person. You might walk out and go, yeah, he's real, but he can't. And the truth is, I don't care. And that's beautiful, because when you don't care, you're untouchable. But what do I think? I have deliberately not. I know things about people behind the scenes that I will never discuss, because it's not for me to discuss. If I have an opinion about somebody, it's just an opinion. Is Charlie Ward a bad guy? I don't know. He's always been nice to me. But, you know, the people put 2 and 2 together and made 5, and then put out horrible things about him. And all the way through this, one of the other things that happened to me years ago is I had a guy that I employed in one of my businesses, and the guy tried to steal the business off me. And I said, no, you're not stealing the fucking business off me. What are you doing? And then he went off crying. Turns out he's a fucking psychopath. He's now a high-level Mason. Back then he was a 22-year-old Australian cock. But he wrote loads of lies about me online. And it broke my heart. And I was teaching internet marketing. I was all over the internet as a teacher. You know, I've written books about internet marketing. And this guy was just lying. And he'd not only that, he'd stolen my database and he'd emailed everybody and lied about me there. And I was broken, absolutely broken. I couldn't believe that anybody would do that to you. Huh? Well, yeah, he is now. He wasn't then, but yeah. And I just couldn't understand that behavior. But it was another lesson from God, because it prepared me for this time. Because if you read the comments under my stuff, there's people called me out. Somebody called me the other day. They said that it was on Facebook. And they said, Mark Attwood, who is a cabal, what was the word? What did he call me? They said that I was no, it was much better than that. A warlock. They called me a warlock. Quite like that, actually. I am Mark, the warlock. Where's my fucking Guinness? Do you know what I mean? So, I don't care. You know, you can think what you want of me. I can only share my story, share my work. Hopefully it helps people. And I think the vast majority of people that got called, because it is a calling, to get up and become a truther, it's not a term I really like. And I don't feel part of that club. I mean, who was I meeting here earlier? What's your name again? Joyce. Joyce came to see me in Boston, in America. And was it Birmingham or Manchester? Manchester. Yeah. The American tour, by the way, I made a film about it called Where You Attwood, and cost me 30,000 quid to make it. So if you want it, it's on my website. You can go and make a donation if you want to watch that. It's good fun, that film. Has anyone seen it? Nobody's seen it. Big fans. Huge fan of your work, Mark. I'm a huge fan. I've seen your videos billions and billions and billions of times. Is that right, Mr. Trump? Have you seen my film? I have not seen your film. I never want to see your film. Okay, thanks. You're a big fan. I wrote a poem about. I actually gave this. Hang on a sec. Oh, good man. I actually gave this to Eric Trump, right? And I was stood there and I said, "Your dad's in this loads, look. The best is yet to come." And he was going, "That's really cool." I said, "Would you want it?" He said, "No, we're not allowed to touch them." And I was like, I was crestfallen. I was like, "You can't touch a book." Am I answering your question? No. So yeah, somebody else here came to Birmingham and asked me who was that? Who was I talking to about Birmingham? Was it you? Because you were Birmingham, weren't you? So I hosted the Great Awakening tour, which was me on stage for like 6 hours, wasn't it? And all these truthers coming up And the reason I did it is because I'd never met them. So I wanted to go, and I think I said to you, I wanted to shake them by the hand and look them in the eye. And most of them seem fine, seem like good people. Some of them, no. But it's not my job to say who's good or bad. Because the truth is, I don't actually know. I know some people are doing things. I know some people are really enjoying the fame. I know some people are psychopathic. No, you wouldn't believe some of the things I've heard behind the scenes. But that's not my place to say. And I know some people have been accused of things that may or may not be true. I don't know. All I really know is we're going to find out. And does it really matter? The other thing, it's like when I worked in marketing, people would say to me, I can't stand junk mail, or I can't stand adverts on the telly. And I'd say, throw the junk mail in the bin and stop watching the fucking telly. What are you complaining about? If a truther, I don't trust him anymore because he wears red trousers on a Saturday. Stop watching him. Do you know what I mean? That's my answer. If any of them don't resonate with me, I just stop watching them and I'm like, I'm done. Because it also comes back to frequency again. All right? So there's a couple of things I would answer that with. You are the only one here. You're the only one here. You're creating all of this because you're a fractal of God. I'm the only one here. I'm creating all of you. I'm not having a very nice time, actually. Because I'd like to create a nice life and a fun life. And this is it. Great. But you're the only person in the room. So every single thing that you're seeing is there for you. All the shit in your life was there for you. Lying truths, that's there for you. I used to believe in you. No, I don't. Well, get over yourself. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. Getting over ourselves, letting go, and realizing you are a solid being. So does that answer your question? No. No. Can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was watching Question Time. It's so long that I've turned into a fucking politician. Didn't answer the question.
Another question.
No, I'm sorry if I haven't answered your question well. Oh, good. I'm trying to answer it the best I can. You want me to name names and say this person's bad, don't you? That's what you want. I'm not going to do it.
The damaging.
Well, let's carry on with that a little bit because yes, there is damage being done, but it's a spiritual war. So we get bogged down in the 3D aspects of it, and we're like, this is causing damage to the whole movement. Well, firstly, it's not a movement. Right? I don't think it's a movement. It's just real good versus evil. Right? As simple as that. And the truther world has definitely been infiltrated. Whether that's by demonically possessed people, which I believe is true, or by people that are planted there by Mossad, FBI, etc. That's true. I think quite a high percentage of them probably are, yeah. For me, I just look in the mirror every morning and go, whoa, Jesus. No, I don't do that. I do. Again. No, I look myself in the mirror, even throughout the last 4 years, and I've gone, am I a clone? Am I a reptile? I'm not joking. Am I real? Am I being genuine? What can I do? And I'm always asking that question. What can I do today that will help? And when we realise that if you come from a place of service, you can't really go wrong. Then, so yeah, I know it's horrible to watch. But, it's like, any wedding you go to, there's always a fucking fight, isn't there? Right? And there's somebody getting their cock out behind the bar, and it's all a bit embarrassing. But a few weeks later, everybody just remembers the cake and the bride looking pretty. They forgot about Uncle Nigel. They forgot about it. So I think it'll be okay.
Can you tell us about when you met Satan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good. I actually met Stan. He was dyslexic. I was in a cult. We used to go, Stan! Yeah, so there was the demon I met in the bedroom, and the demons, they weren't Satan. So there was, it was an interesting time. I was in Salisbury. Do you know Salisbury? Salisbury Cathedral. Interesting. Beautiful building, right? Christmas Eve, And I was out with a couple of guys, one of whom is now a famous TV wine expert. And the pub had shut, and we were like, let's go to the cathedral and watch the choir. So we ran across the grass. It was all lit up like a beautiful, absolutely beautiful green floodlit. And went across, had a peep in. All the choir boys are there singing their hearts out. It was incredible. A bit weird, actually, looking back on it. But anyway, we shut that. Came out, we're like, where are we going to get a drink from? And I just remember looking out across the grass. There was nobody in sight. It was at least 300 yards all around, right? And then suddenly this guy appeared. And he was good looking, dressed in a hoodie with a backpack. And he said, lads, do you want some drink? And my mate, Joe, was going, God, yeah, amazing. And I was going, where did you come from? And I knew it was Satan. I just knew. And I was like, Joe, no, don't accept his drink. And he turned around here. And he was like, no, God, he's got a bag full of booze. It's great. And then we turned back and he just disappeared. There was nowhere he could have gone. 300 yards all around. He wasn't there. And if you study the devil, which I have a bit, one of the forms he takes is a handsome traveller, one with a backpack, all of that. So that was one time. The second time was I had a pint of lager that was spiked with LSD by the landlord of the comedy club I used to perform at. And I was drinking this, and then I was like, oh my God, something. Then I had no idea, I'd never taken LSD. Ran 2 miles, sprinted 2 miles home, and I was in the living room, and I had a 6-hour conversation with him. It was just very beautiful, actually. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm just being the devil. Yeah, but you don't like it. Stop it. Well, I love it. It was like that. But for hours and hours and hours, that conversation. Was that a hallucination? I don't believe so, because I've done a lot of plant medicine, mushrooms, ayahuasca, peyote, etc. They talk about trips and hallucination. I don't think we hallucinate. We don't invent things. We just see things that we couldn't see. And they open dimensions to doorways to other dimensions and knowledge. In the case of plant medicine, ancient knowledge. In the case of LSD, manufactured in a lab, a bit different and demonic, because LSD was put into the earth by Satan. That's how they created the whole, summer of love shit in the 60s, which was all satanic and energy harvesting. There was another time as well. It'll come back to me. Is that good enough? It will come back to me, because how do you forget meeting the devil? Go to Edinburgh, talk 2 hours on stage about complete shite, and then drink Guinness and feel a bit giddy. That's it. Any other questions? Hello. What's your name again? Hi, Susan.
I met you now.
Yes, did you? Oh, which one?
The Posh Castle.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it?
Was very good.
We did a dinner in Ireland, and big castle that they won't let me back in at because they found out who I was.
So Tucker Carlson has been doing loads.
Carlson Tuckerson.
Carl Tuckerson, that's the very fella, and he's been doing loads of great interviews. Which, if normies see them, it just lays everything out. Do you think this is the start of everybody coming on the same page?
So, did you all hear that? Tucker Carlson's doing all these amazing interviews. I mean, I think the Putin one's going to be released about midnight tonight. 2 hours of Tucker interviewing Putin. It's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. So, on the one hand, Tucker, I've been watching Tucker for years, and I thought, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant at what he does. But then you've got someone like Ariel. Do you follow Ariel on Twitter? Who says he's a bad guy. Fucks with your head, doesn't it? But then he's interviewing Putin. But we know that's not the original Putin. The original Putin was a mass murdering scumbag who got replaced at least 10 years ago. And this might be the fourth Putin, but he's definitely being controlled by God, good guys, and he's doing good work. And Tucker's online talking about dimensions, UFOs, and all the stuff that I go on about, and it's mainstream. So it looks really good, but I don't know. is the answer.
I think.
We need a microphone over here, if we can.
Thank you.
You're still talking.
You are.
I think it's a good thing because it's going to get everybody on the same page.
Well,
But
yeah.
the amazing Polly says there's a whole raft of these people that are going to be the new people we trust now.
Well, it's like it's a limited hangout.
Yeah.
So, cheers. Jesus, I'm going to get let it. Welcome to Scotland. Drink this. Yeah, pumped. Yeah, I'm looking at you. All that wine, I won't go on that. Talk today. She's a head mistress. Never ending bottle of wine. It was great, and I really appreciate it. It's like all religion is a limited hangout, isn't it? So they know that we're spirits having a human experience, not humans having a spiritual experience. So they created religion to funnel that energy. Because we're having spiritual experiences and church, right, I'll go to church. They know what they're talking about. Okay, great. And then you kind of had that part of you satisfied, that spiritual aspect. So in that respect, religion is a limited hangout. And I think it's possibly similar with some of these things, because if you want to control the narrative, then you need to take over the narrative. So on one hand, Tucker may be taking over the narrative. On the other hand, it may be a good guy and it's a step towards. I think it may be both things. Because everything keeps flipping. And what's been going on in the last 4 years, I don't know if you guys have felt it, but I felt it. These potential timelines get collapsed, and then you suddenly, I felt them. Where suddenly that's not happened. And then suddenly that's not happened. And there is only one timeline now. Personally, I'd love it if Tucker was real. And I'd love it. But I've learned to become very distrustful of everybody. But I still love them. And if you can hold those two things together, then I think you're halfway there. So there you go.
We can live in hope.
I live in hope. Live in hope. Good. Nice. I live in my underwear during the day.
I have a question about your tweet. Thank you, Mark, by the way. I haven't really followed you much, but I know that Kat Kat has, so I've been encouraged. Yes. The 26,000 year cycle, and I feel I'm more drawn as well along to where we came from, etc. In terms of all these different historic events such as the mud flood and Tartaria and things like that.
Welcome to Tartaria. I just walked down Princess Street and I'm like, oh my God, so obvious.
Yeah. And so when we go back over, again, it is uncovering. When you think of the mud, it's actually uncovering back again all the buildings and reclaiming things that were hidden from us again, but also part of that knowledge that we need to tap back into about who we are and how we lived our lives. And I don't know if you've done poems on that or anything, but right. What?
Sorry, 100. It's a historical masterpiece. 200.
How close are we at to this golden age then? I mean, are we?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's asking that. When's it happening? When's it happening? I just, you got to let that go. You got to let that go and just realize it's your divine spiritual journey. That's it. Nothing else. There is no date. There is no time. And once you let it go. So one of the things I said earlier was like God saying, let go of the children. And I was like mortified, right? And I didn't answer the conclusion that I've come to is you have to let everything go in order for it to come back the way it's supposed to, because it's all distorted frequencies. So if you look at the Lemurian words, like Ma, Ha, Ka, Wa, Ha, Ti. Yeah, Ma, M-A, is the undistorted light. It's Christ consciousness. It's pure. Yeah, we're living it in the distorted light now. but we're moving towards the undistorted light. So everything's distorted. But part of this is, and what I've been recommending everybody does, is find out more about who you really are. You, not us, you. So go and do a QHHT session, quantum healing, hypnosis technique, Dolores Cannon. Do a past life regression with that. I did it. What I found out was mind blowing. Right? Do the numerology of it. Mine, 33.6, Christ consciousness. What? I've had people tell me I'm the son of valiant thought. I've had people tell me I'm a demigod. You've got to take it all with a pinch of salt. But you have to learn more about yourself, because the next thing that you learn leads you to the next bit, the next bit, the next bit. And I think when it comes to I've had too much given now. What was I saying? I was having a thread there. Yeah, you find out about your own stuff and your own journey in it, and I think that's the most important thing you can do. And yeah, I want to know. I still can't get my head. I know the giants were here, but I can't get my head around it. I watched Mud Fossil University, and I know that the whole of North Africa is one great big dead serpent that was so big it could probably walk around the whole earth in 6 steps. How do they live here? I don't know. But it's fascinating and it's fun, but it's also like a big Chinese puzzle, right? But it's down to us to support each other while we're on our own individual journeys, is what I think. So I don't know if that's answered your question.
Not really, but it's still interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. These people are real truthers, so I'll give you the truth.
I can't lie about anything. It hurts my soul. It's bizarre. It's brilliant. So I'm a truther in that respect.
Just to ask you, Mark, about Andrew Brigden. Now, Charlie Ward is going over to see him, and also Rachel Eleanor. They're all meeting very soon, and Matt. Oh, yes. Well, Matt Hancock has been pulled into the equation on the 1st of March. Do you think this whole vaccine atrocity will come out to the world ahead?
I think absolutely. But it can't not. It's already out. Yeah. It's already out. And isn't it interesting? Andrew Bridgen. His name is Bridgen. I was talking about Bridgen.
Yes.
And I forgot to tell you, when I opened the healing centre, somebody had to point out to me that I'd opened it in a place called Bridge Street. And it was a bridge out the window. So I hadn't even noticed it. So, yes, I think the whole vaccine thing will come out. And I think I've long thought that the thing that's really going to unite the people is when they find out about the children. And I think it's been incredibly frustrating for people to see this whole thing play out. Because even throughout when's it going to end? When's it going to end? And it's like, and what I kept getting was, this is really about saving as many people as possible. Because if the stuff that I know, people they defriend me, they punch me, they fucking hate me because of the stuff that I know. Because they can't hold the thoughts in their head. Because you look at the child abuse, any human being couldn't imagine anybody else doing it, so it can't be true. Because they couldn't imagine anybody doing it. If they knew the truth, what would it do to them? So they have to be eased out of it. So I think all of these things are part of that easing out process. So yeah, I think the vaccine thing is one of the things that's got to come out. I mean, that's why, did you see the video I posted of Mark Sexton last week?
Yeah.
Yeah? So Mark Sexton, former UK policeman, I've met him, he's lovely. People keep saying he's controlled opposition. He's not. If he is, he's fucking genius. Like that, he's brilliant. He's a lovely human being. And he rang me up and he said, Mark, I want you to post this video because I can't post long videos. And I went, all right. 1 million views just on my channel. Right? Wow. And it's had millions of views. It's been translated into multiple languages. This is on Friday. Wow. It's had millions since Friday. Right? And it's been on other people's channel. People with massive followings like Matt Letizia you've had here and Joe Barton. And football's finally, big. That's why I had Matt Letizia on my show in Manchester, because we need these celebrities with the big followings. And we need these social media influencers and people like that to start speaking out. and the doctors like Dr. David Cartman, you know, it's irrefutable evidence. And and what Donald Trump has shown throughout the whole last 4 years war is that everything has to be done legally and done properly. Because if it isn't, people just won't believe it. And that's what I think that's all part of that process. And, you know, I'm an apocalyptic. I absolutely believe that the whole vaccine thing is going to come out. Because it has to. Because the problem is that people realise that they've been mass murdered. Fucking hell, that's going to be a bit messy, isn't it? So it's fascinating to watch. And I'd say this as well to everybody, that if you switch your thinking from when's it going to happen, when's that going to happen, to just enjoying it and going, this is the fucking best time in the history to be alive. I mean, how boring was our life before COVID? I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks in August. Thinking about Fort Sierra, maybe a Fort Mondeo, I'm not sure. The Dar Smash on Wednesday. Fucking hell, how boring was that? Now we're talking about genocide and fucking World War III. It's much more exciting. Thanks, God.
How significant do you think it is that Neil... Can you hear me? How significant do you think it is that Neil Oliver was cleared by Ofcom?
Cleared by who?
Ofcom.
What was he cleared for? Because I missed that story.
So he was accused of saying that the vaccines were killing people, and Ofcom cleared it on the basis that they said it was just a personal opinion.
Well, that's great news. And I watched Oliver with interest over the last few years, because GB News isn't the news channel of the people. But I honestly believe that all media has been under the control of the good guys for the last 4 or 5 longer years. So it's chess. So I had a vision in 2020, which was like a multi-dimensional chessboard with billions of pieces on. And we were all pieces on that chessboard. And we were all being moved around to achieve the outcome, which was that it sounds like a furniture store if you say it quickly. Welcome to Godwin, the sensational settee, only $2.99. So I think it's all being controlled. I think all of us are being guided in the same way. And I think the way I look at it is that I've understood how demonic entities whisper in your ear. Have you seen the film The Adjustment Bureau? Have you all seen that? Go watch it. I watched it the other week. It's fucking brilliant. It's like 10, 12 years old. And it's this agency that they know there's going to be an outcome they don't want. So they just nudge you this way and they'll just nudge you that way. They'll might make you miss a bus and then change the whole course of your life. And they have it all mapped out. That's kind of what I've had as a vision for a long time, which is why a lot of these chess moves look good. But here's the simple answer. There are no 5D answers to 3D questions. The 3D question, the answer is 5D, which none of us really get yet. So.
Mark?
I'm not doing very well at these questions, am I? Fudging myself through. Yes, sir.
Mark, I'll have to ask you for a 5D answer to this question then. Why were you going to Roslyn, and what were you hoping to get out of going there?
It's a good question. Originally when I spoke to these guys, we were going to go and film something there. But the truth is, I don't have enough factual information to make what I think would be a good film. And I didn't have time to do enough research about Roslyn. A lot of people have spoken to me about Roslyn over the years. I was going to go and do this thing with Michael Feely, because I was going to question him on behalf of the audience. And that would have been, for me, that would be a brilliant way for me to learn everything I need to know about Roslyn. But that got cancelled last year by Roslyn Chapel when they found out who we were. So this has intrigued me, because I'm like, well, why don't they want me to go? What's so special about me? Why don't they want me to go to Roslyn? And then today, I went for a walk. Where's Jim? Where is he? Oh, there he is. All right, Jim. Jim climbed the Man of Hoy on his own when he was like 22. It's amazing. Look up the Man of Hoy. That's scary shit. Yeah, Jim told me to go and get haggis from the last drop, which I did today. But while I was sat there eating this haggis, which I've not had, I was getting an orange apple. And I was like, okay, I'll do what I'm told. That's what happens to me. I just do, I get these things and I just don't do it. That's why. What came out of it? Not sure yet. Something happened. But I'll tell you in a couple of weeks. I'm getting up early to get a ferry. I drove here. It took 12 hours to drive here, and I've got to drive back tomorrow to get back to my kids. So I'm going to be up too early to go tomorrow. I'm afraid. Or maybe not with the Guinness. So next Thursday. I'm still here. I love Scotland. It's fucking great. I've moved in. I see it at the Penny Black. 11 a.m. Like a proper drinker. Yeah. Next, anybody? Hello.
Hi. You refer to religion as an experience that's limited for our spirituality. And then you referred to Christ consciousness. So I would like to know what's the difference for you and what's the experience of Christ consciousness?
Yeah, I didn't really understand what Christ consciousness was until it started. It just kept cropping up. And that's what's happened. The other great thing about the last 4 years, which, by the way, I call COVID and this whole period spiritual quarantine, because we all had to look inside ourselves and find out who we were as well as see who everybody else was. And lots of things popped up in the consciousness, in the field of consciousness, such as boundaries, for example. 2 years ago, I just kept getting this word, boundaries, you need boundaries. Because I didn't have any boundaries. I'd let everybody into my life and I'd get screwed over or get hurt or I'd hurt. There were no fucking boundaries there. So these things pop up in consciousness. What does Christ consciousness mean compared to religion? Is that the question? For me, it's the undistorted light. It's Ma. That's what I was going to say about the Ma. And when I was talking about finding out more about yourself, I forgot to say this. I learnt that word, Ma. I learnt what it meant. And then I went, hang on a minute, my name's Mark. Hang on, it's Mark Attwood, M.A. Hang on a minute. I worked in marketing for 25 years. The first house I bought was on Markington Street in Manchester. I moved to Marrakesh. The real name of Morocco is Maghreb in Arabic. I've just been followed around by Ma all my life. And I was like, fuck. I'm the undistorted light. I don't know. But there's an interview I did with an amazing woman who's based in Bali. She actually overlaid the path of consciousness, I think, from Buddhism with the map of Ireland. And it matches exactly. And we did a couple of videos on it because she realized as she was talking through, it's the rising of the chrism oil up the spine. Because Christ consciousness is really something that's rising within you or within yourself. That, I mean, is anybody here more psychic now than they were 4 years ago? Hands up. Hands up. Straw poll. Anybody else here get the tingle? Yeah? Anybody else here spot bullshit better than they used to? That's Christ consciousness rising. Because we're becoming. So for me, it's like the original blueprint of what we are supposed to be. So, in America, see you guys. Bye-bye. Don't ask for a refund. In America, I was talking about, they tell us that 97% of our DNA is junk. That's what Americans call junk, right? I said to the Americans, no, crown jewels. And what I think is happening is that the Christ consciousness rising is that DNA being activated, and we are going back to the original blueprint of what we're supposed to be, because we've been in this prison for a very long period of time. But it's a prison that we created at the same time. It's very complicated. But yeah, that's what. And so religion for me is to hide that from us. by giving us enough that we don't question it. But then you get people who leave the cult and, they have God talking to them, filter it all through that particular religion, which is what I've met an amazing guy in Ireland who has worked out consciousness mathematically, studied it so many times, been to India 30, 40 times, built replica pyramid in his garden. They're amazing. Yet you talk to him and he comes back through the Catholic filter and starts talking about, and I'm like, it's just really, really, it's all there for you anyway. Does that answer your question? What do I think about it? I think it's there for me. So I'm still working it out. And enjoying it. I think that's the key. Enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. That's why I drove here, because it's better than flying. Flying, why didn't you fly? It's only an hour. Well, because you get on one end, after being scanned and frisked and eating shit food, and queuing for hours, and you sit in a fucking box with shit air in it, somebody you don't like, keep most of the time. That was actually the best advice I ever got. So I've employed over 300 people in businesses. The best employment advice I ever got, after spending thousands on consultants about employing people, was just imagine yourself a long haul flight to Australia. Will they annoy you? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, don't employ them. It's so simple. I've lost track completely. Where am I at?
Yeah, hi Mark.
Hello.
Hi there. I was watching one of your videos recently, and I saw that you said that you only eat meat now. So I was kind of curious, like, how you got into that, and has that got health benefits?
Do you know, I have talked about satanic ritual abuse. I've talked about fucking war, pestilence, murder, false history, criminals. The one thing that gets the biggest amount of hatred is when I talk about meat. And fucking hell. Yeah, because the short answer is I have a very open mind all the time. I've been a vegan. I've done all the diets you can imagine. And I was not feeling well. And I had carpal tunnel syndrome when I met 4 guys who wrote a book called The Red Pill Revolution. Have anybody read that? Yeah. So that was written by Ben Hunt, who I've known for 16 years. We used to do talks together. He defriended me on Facebook in 2016 as well. And then he came back to me and said, I wrote a book called Red Pill Revolution. I was like, fuck all about Red Pill. Anyway, he's a fantastic guy, Ben. And 2 of the guys, Phil Escott, who wrote a book 10 years ago called Arthritis, the best thing that ever happened to me. And another guy called Jeremy Eyre, and another guy, no, I can't remember. And anyway, I met them by sneaking into the UK during all the bullshit. Got on really well with most of them. And I saw, they just gave me their testimony. Phil Escott is worth following. He's a great guy, really great guy. He's the drummer in the Daz band. Who was here with the light paper earlier? Where? You? Who? I can't see you speaking. Put your hand up so I can see your face when you're talking. Oh yeah. So light paper is created by Daz Nesbitt, right? You know that, yeah. Nod your head because otherwise I'll get no feedback. So he's the one who, like, you can stick your new world order up your ass. Well, the drummer in that band is Phil Escott. So Phil wrote a book called Arthritis is the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me, because he was a vegan hippie all his life, and he was crippled by arthritis at the age of 50. And he tried every single thing he could, and then he went carnivore, and he was healed immediately. So I listened to him and I said, well, I've got this carpal tunnel syndrome. He said, well, try it. So I went full carnivore, and it went within days, right? My neighbour's got the same problem. She's been operated on 3 times, and I've avoided that. So it's a very controversial thing to talk about, especially to a spiritual crowd, because everybody loves the little animals, right? And I do too. But I learned, it's such a big subject, but I learned by experience, by keeping that open mind, because they literally poisoned everything. And the biggest thing about vegetables that we don't understand properly is oxalates. Vegetables don't want to be eaten either, but they can't run away. So they have poisons built into them. They do. And your body doesn't recognize poisons, and it just causes all these problems, especially in vegans. And And then it hit me, and this got me into massive trouble. Don't throw anything at me when I say this, please. But veganism itself, the movement of veganism, is a satanic agenda. Because if you've got a load of vegans, soy lattes, you've got a weak population. They don't want a strong population. Meat gives you the material that you need to build and rebuild your body. Animal fat is the most important thing you should be eating, because your brain is not getting anywhere near as much fat as it needs. Salt in clean water is the most important thing you should be putting into your body. So I experienced it and I shared it, and I hope one day I'll be looked at. I think where we're going, we're not going to need food anyway. There's people who've been living on the sun for 40 years, you don't actually need food. But I think it's really a case of elimination. So it's what you're not eating. I mean, I love bread because it's addictive. It's got opiates in it. And it's nothing to do with the gluten. It's to do with what they spray, the glyphosate, and it's GMO. So you're just fucking your whole body up by it. So cut out bread, cut out vegetables. Don't eat before 1 o'clock. Intermittent fast every day. Drink the structured water. You will feel mind-blowingly different very, very quickly. But what happens when people do switch to meat only, and I tried to get Tom Numbers to do this, and he was a very classic situation. He gave up after 4 or 5 days because he said he felt constipated. I said, it's not constipation. It's because there's no more waste to get rid of. Because your body's using everything. The reason you shit is because you're putting crap in that needs to be pushed out again. So you go to the toilet far less. But then you go through this kind of detox process, and it does take 3 months. And we got over 1,000 people to do it with us a couple of years ago. And I'm not 100% carnivore now because I'm lazy and I'm a human being and I like a bit of sandwich every now and then. Don't tell anybody, but and I like a drink. But when I did do it solidly for 3 months, I lost tons of weight, had tons of energy, fixed everything, was like, this is amazing. I have to tell people to at least try it. And they keep getting all this stuff back. No, there's different diets for different blood types, different diet for different. No, it's one diet. It's meat with seasonal, fruit that you know where it's from, not the shit out of the supermarket. So that's what I've learned. I've shared it. It pisses people off, but I've had thousands of people. When I was in the States, people were coming up to me going, this is my new Maximize the Right Body. It's amazing. Thank you so much. You saved my life. And I'm like, wow, that is amazing. Because I'm just a journey, an explorer the same as you are. And if meat is the answer, then I'm going to look at that because, I've met people. The other thing, and I'll finish on this, the other thing that convinced me is that when I met Jeremy, his wife, he's been married to for 12 years, but when he met her, she came to him as a patient who'd been given terminal cancer diagnosis by the doctors. 12 years later, she's right as rain because she did the carnivore diet and she got the red light blockers because these lights are fucking with our circadian rhythm, and she did the liver detox on the new moon, not full moon, and got rid of that. This is so simple stuff, but I hope that answered your question. Thank you. Yeah. One of the other experiences I had in this, what Charlie Ward says, what an amazing journey. What a wonderful journey. Is I got to know Robert Greene. And Robert Greene is now no longer with us because they basically killed him. And he was talking about the Holly Gregg case over 15 years ago. If you haven't looked at that case, go and look it up. If you can't find it on the internet, go onto archive.org to the Wayback Machine and you will find websites like the Coleman Experience, WordPress.com, and things like that, which were actually telling us all of this stuff a long time ago. Robert Greene was a man from Cheshire who knew about this girl with thalidomide in Scotland, whose father and brother were raping her in a satanic ring, and full of judges and police in Scotland. I mean, this is the home of the Scottish rights, for fuck's sake, right? Paedophilia is rife everywhere across the world, but Scotland's very, very important, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come to Edinburgh, because I've experienced the energy in this place has been fucking nuts. But you are the guardians of Scotland, the ones of you that live here, and you're going to take that with you into the future, which is going to be something you'll be extremely proud of. But I'm 100% behind this because I knew about this. It was part of my journey of understanding what was really going on, because when Robert Greene was exposing the Hollygate case, he was exposing all of them, but he held it back, what it was really about. He was just going, look, this is a terrible case of abuse. The mother of the child absconded down to England, and I think her brother was burnt to death in a car, yeah? But they murdered him by burning him to death in a car. It was horrific. Her own brother and father, right? And the mother didn't know. When she did find out, she was off. Okay, so he was trying to help her. And then what they did, he lived in Cheshire. The police, the Scottish police, drove down from Scotland into Cheshire, bashed his door down at 2 a.m., went in a jurisdiction they had no right to do this in, without a warrant, took him in a car, drove him up to Edinburgh with his computer, searched his house. And then they put him in a kangaroo court in Aberdeen, and I think they put him in prison twice for 2 years at a stretch, and they didn't give him any medication when he was in there because he was not very well. And I think that's how they wiped him out. There was another guy called Rusty Rockets. Have you heard of him? Yeah. Similar thing happened to him. And, you know, I watched all this happening 10, 12, 13, whenever it was, years ago. And I met Robert Greene at the David Icke Wembley event when there were like 8,000 people there. And David Icke was talking for 12 hours, 10 hours on stage. And I had a really, you know, and I wrote to him in prison and I tried to help as much as I could. But this is like years ago, and, you know, you're busy, you're bringing up kids, you can't, what else could you do? It's terrifying when you know that the police can just do what the fuck they want, which is what they've been doing. So, but there are good police. There are good. They can't all be bad, can they? So this is amazing news that this guy has come out and done this. Well, this is great to hear. But it's the pyramidical structure, and it's the mortgage and the wage slavery. That's what keeps everybody trapped. And I've been saying for years, for God's sake, stop worrying about your bloody pension and get up and say something. That's what we need. Policemen, doctors, nurses, teachers. Well, if they could just get a fucking backbone and remember, there is no future if they don't. So what are they worried about a pension for? You're going to be dead. If the New World Order carries on, what's the pension? What use is a pension when you're fucking dead?
Mark, can I just add that David Scott from the ex-UK column, he's got a channel on YouTube, Northern Exposure, and he's talking about this right now. So people want to go look at that. It's
Northern Exposure, David Scott, YouTube is talking about this right now. Great, thanks for that.
Go for it, yeah.
I'll go and have a look at that. But yeah, brilliant. Thanks for bringing it up.